very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our subscribers who have joined us from different parts of the world. We welcome you to the live episode number 4, season 1 of International Citizenship Talk. Before starting the vlog, I would like to mention that this vlog is meant for educational purpose only. We do not promote any individual or any corporate. We always recommend that you do your due diligence before making any kind of investment decisions. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Paresh Karia. He is the CEO of Acquest Advisors. Mr. Karia, welcome.
Thank you, Mayank. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, sir. So, before we start the vlog, a lot of our subscribers would like to know about your journey of becoming the CEO of Acquest Advisors, how it has been, where were you initially working, and then how you came to the residency and citizenship by investment business altogether.
Right. So, Mayank, my transformation or journey into immigration has been quite interesting. I come with a background. I am a chartered accountant by training, and I've been a banker by profession. So, I have worked with leading private banks for more than a decade, and I was on the investment advisory side. I was a part of the private banking with leading banks like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and also had a short stint with the Swiss Bank. So, post my banking career, post in late 2009 2010, decided, me along with one of my dear friend who's also a private banker, we decided to move out from the mainstream banking career to alternate assets, advising on the alternate asset sides. And we set up our own practice to advise on the real estate fund, private equity fund, etc. And during this journey, we were approached by somebody from the US who wanted to enter into India and offer the EB5 program. Okay. So this happened way back in 2018. At that point of time, our other practice was doing quite well, but I was quite interested in this program. I found it quite interesting, the EB5 visa program. And so we decided to take a plunge to get into the EB5 visa program. We found that it was very much aligned to what we have been doing, the skill sets that were required, aligned with the requirement of the program. As you know, the EB5 visa program is one of the most simple in terms of the requirements is concerned. The requirement is very simple. All you need to do is have money for investment. But Absolutely. It is one of the most complex program when it comes to execution and fulfillment.
True. Very true.
The journey takes very long. The documentation is quite complex and extensive compared to other programs. For instance, you have to do a detailed documentation of the source of fund. And I realized that being a chartered accountant, that was to my advantage. I could do the source of fund documentation well. The second part and the most important part of the EB5 journey is selecting the right project for investment. And that's where I realized that my experience and knowledge in selecting and advising on the investments, particularly we also used to, as a private bank, I also used to advise clients on private equity investments, and the EB5 investments and project selection was something similar. So there again, I said that I could, add value over there. And the third part, which is more relevant to clients from India, which is remittance of funds. We always have some restrictions in India. We have to, or when it comes to remittance of funds, you had the LRS scheme and you had to comply with that. And Absolutely. I realized that being a banker, my experience as a banker could come in over there. So I had that kind of a skill set as well. So I realized that, one is I had all the requirements and I could use all my skills and experience very aptly for the EB5 visa program. And I also realized that there are very few people who were in this kind of a position who could understand accounting, banking, as well as investment, which was all required for the EB5 visa program. So that's the reason I migrated to the program and took to it. And we've been really fortunate. We've been happy. I've been enjoying it. I've been doing it for the last 5 years. And it's not easy migrating, doing an EB5 visa program, for simple. But given my background and the skills, I'm really enjoying doing this program. And that's how we continued, got into this program and continued, still continuing. And while we were doing the EB5 visa program, we realized that, look, there are other immigration opportunities also available, on a similar part. These were all investment-based opportunities. So we dived into it. We studied the various immigration programs from various countries, and we found that the Portugal Golden Visa one was one of the best options available way back in 2019. People in India started looking at Portugal Golden Visa over the last 2 3 years, but we
Mhm.
started working on Portugal Golden Visa in 2019, and we added it to our portfolio. That was followed by, we realized there were a lot of people who were also looking at migrating to Canada, and Canada did not have an attractive investment based program. So we looked at the business immigration and we converted the business immigration proposal into an investment based program and started offering that to our clients. And
Mhm.
more recently, we have now started offering the Dubai Golden Visa program also to our clients. It is
Fantastic.
one of the most popular program, and a lot of Indians have been moving to Dubai. And we said that this could be a good opportunity. We are exploring that. We have just set up our office in Dubai, and I'm off to Dubai next week.
Fantastic, fantastic. So we also have seen that there has been a tremendous change in the dynamics of international investments when it comes to taking up residency or citizenship. Initially, there were two, three main popular programs in India, which was Canada, US, and UK. But now, gradually, we have seen that there is an array of
Yes, sorry, Mayank, I lost you.
yeah. Is it any better now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Fantastic, not an issue. So that's the technical difficulties of hosting live events.
Right.
So moving forward, just a quick question to you. Specifically, we have seen that the dynamics of international investments have changed very quickly. There have
Right.
been a lot of new programs that have been introduced in the market, and it has been seen that the initial favorable investments
Right.
has been majorly from the perspective of Canada and US. And
Right.
somehow we have seen new geographies coming in a big way, and specifically the golden visa options that are available for getting the EU access.
Right.
So understanding that and understanding the topography, what's your take on that as an individual? Because since you have been part of the industry, you have met plenty of clients who have different requirements. How do you suggest them? Which program is more suitable for them compared to the other one?
Right. Well, you're absolutely right. We have seen that some of this golden visa programs from European countries in particular, and of late, the Dubai Golden Visa program has becoming very popular with Indians now. The
Mhm.
traditional programs were always there. You had the EB5 visa program, you had the Canada, program, you had UK program, and this migration or popularity, rise in popularity has happened in the last 2 3 years. Primarily, I think a lot has got to do with COVID, for the
True.
golden visa program. So COVID made us realize, that it is two things important, that you need to have freedom, travel, mobility, and flexibility. And
Mhm.
second is you all need to have a backup plan. You never know what happens, in your country. I mean, not only COVID, post COVID, we have seen the war in Europe, we have seen economic crisis in so many of our neighboring countries, and we have seen climatic change and so many regions getting affected. So people have now begun to realize, especially the high net worth individuals,
Mhm.
that having a backup plan or having an insurance plan, like it's like having an insurance and having
True.
a mobility plan, it gives you freedom. You are free to travel wherever you want, whenever you want. And
True.
COVID has made us realize the value of that particular travel mobility, the freedom
Mhm.
to travel, and the need to have a backup plan. And the golden visa programs perfectly fit over here. While the
Mhm.
golden visa programs have been around since about 2012
Mhm.
onwards, they only got into popularity, particularly with Indians, not only with Indians, but people all over the world. The
True.
Americans also realize today the biggest investors in the golden visa programs are the Americans. The Chinese have
Interesting.
always been investing. The Chinese have always been looking, given the situation in their country, they've always been looking at other programs. But now the Americans have, post COVID, have taken over the Chinese when it comes to golden visa programs. And these programs are also getting popular with Indians,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
the reason why they're popular is because the golden visa gives you a right of residency in a particular country without an obligation. So you don't have an obligation to stay there. You
Mhm.
It's very simple. You invest money, you buy a property, or you invest in a fund, you get a golden visa.
True.
With the golden visa comes a right for you to stay in that particular country.
Mhm.
It also gives you travel mobility. Most of the European golden visa programs allow you visa free travel to Schengen countries. which is again very important. We know that for Indians how difficult it is travel to Schengen. You get visa only for a limited period of time. There are long
True.
waiting queues. So with the golden visa, you are killing two birds at a stone. You get visa-free travel to Schengen countries, plus you have a right to stay in a chosen European country. And to add, the icing on the cake is that with some programs like the Portugal Golden Visa, you can also get citizenship.
Mhm.
With
So
the citizenship,
specifically, there have been a lot of speculation regarding the Portugal Golden Visa program. I think in between it was also paused for some time. So is that
yeah,
started again?
yes, yes. So there have been a lot of changes in the Portugal Golden Visa program. In fact, with all the Golden Visa programs we are talking, there are a lot of changes which have been happening. So,
True.
what happens when a program becomes very popular? There are more demand for it, more people queuing up, and when there is more demand, there is some kind of restrictions to put check on that. So the entry barriers also increase, and that's
True.
what we have seen happening with the Portugal Golden Visa program.
Mhm.
So the program was earlier. The program was that you had to invest about you know 500,000 euros in a property, and
Mhm.
it could go as low as to 280,000 with certain type of properties.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then they changed the program in about 21. In 21, they changed the program. They increased the investment amount for the property investment. They removed the criteria also, so it became difficult for you to buy a property at for 280,000. There were limited options available. So that
Of
was
course.
one change that was introduced in 21. However,
Mhm.
the program continued, and even after the changes were introduced, the program continued to rise in popularity.
Mhm.
And finally, money kept pouring into real estate in Portugal. And because of internal compulsions, we have seen in the last couple of years, there has
Mhm.
been rise in the interest rate, rise in inflation, property prices have gone through the roof. And then it became a political issue in Portugal that because foreigners are investing, property prices were going up, and therefore
Mhm.
you should stop foreigners from investing in property. We don't know to
Mhm.
what extent it is true, but then it became a political issue, and the government decided to do away with the real estate investment in Portugal. So real
Interesting.
estate was just one of the options. They always had the other options. You could invest the money in some fund, or you could make a capital contribution. You could invest in some cultural, programs, etc. So all those options were always there. But property investment was the most popular option because it was cheapest and it was easy. All of us love to invest in property. So that
Mhm.
option has been done away with. But you still have the option of investing in a fund which is 500,000 euros. And my sense is that this is still a good option because when you are investing in a fund, your associated cost is less. When it comes to property, you have to pay the maintenance, you have to pay stamp duty,
Of course.
registration
Of
cost,
course.
etc., etc. While you do get some rental income, but it's not steady, and on that also you have to pay tax. When it comes
Absolutely.
to one option, the holding cost is minimal. You don't have to pay any stamp duty, registration, maintenance, etc. It's a financial asset. It's like holding shares or some other investments in your demat account, and you also get tax-free income. Plus, there is more transparency in liquidity when it comes to fund. So, in the days going forward, I expect this option to become more popular. It is already very popular with sophisticated and well-informed investors in US. They prefer investing in fund over a property. But in
Mhm.
Asia, things are different. We prefer to invest in property. But given the way things are shaping up, I think in the next few days there will be greater acceptance for fund investment, even from Asia for Portugal. And Portugal will again regain its popularity.
I think we have spoken more about Portugal, but I know you have a big buffet of different options available. And
Yes.
from that perspective, I will combine two questions for you. One is that as an individual, if I plan to do any kind of investments and I have no clues about the different options available in the market, and I come to
Right.
you and say, I'm looking for a particular piece of advice, and I also want to understand your services, what all you provide to gain that residency or citizenship through investments. So, how do you advise people on what criteria you advise people and what all services you offer?
Right. Right. Very important question, Mank. See, when we realize that, there are people, different kind of people who come to us. There are some people who are just exploring, they're starting off, they don't have much idea of what they want to do. They will look at various kind of programs, and They will be looking at US also, they will be looking at Europe, etc.
Mhm.
And there are some people who come to us who are very clear, who have done the homework, they are very clear, they are very specific, and they said that I want to go for this particular program, right? So it becomes easier to deal with the second set of clients. When it comes to first set of clients, we really have to first discuss with them. And we always start with the discussion, first decide what is your objective.
Mhm.
Like EB5 is a journey. So
Mhm.
you decide why you want to go on a particular journey, and then we will tell you that how you can embark on this journey. So your
Mhm.
objective has to be very, very clear. Why are you looking at this, a program? Are you looking at it because you want to provide a good education to your children and set them up for in a good country in the future? Are you doing it because you want to expand your business? You are looking at business opportunities. Are you doing it because you want travel mobility? Or are you doing it as just as a backup plan? You don't want to move elsewhere. You want to be in India, but you just want it as a backup plan.
Mhm.
Or that is the objective that we need to realize. And based on the objective, we can suggest a program. So, for instance, if somebody is looking at providing a good education for the child and setting them up for a good future, I think the EB5 visa program makes more sense because we know that the best place for the education, the best educational institutions, if you look at it, are based in the US,
True.
right? And
True.
today the problem is we are facing is that a lot of people who are sending their children to US for education are finding that even after the children are completing the education, they are not able to stay there. They're not able to get the H1B visa. It's so difficult to get H1B visa. It's a lottery system. And even if you are lucky and you manage to get the H1B visa, the journey from there on to the green card is, very, very time consuming. It's very uncertain.
Mhm.
You It may take you many, many years, and during this period you are always under pressure, you are always under threat. If you lose your job, you may not have status in the US and you may have to go back to your home country. So that's the
True.
reason why, if somebody is planning a career or education for children in the US, we would suggest that you go for EB5 visa program.
Mhm.
If someone wants to move out of India, enjoy a good quality life, provide a decent education to their children, and does not have enough money to pursue an EB5 visa program, the next best alternative is Canada.
Okay.
If someone is planning to send their children to Europe for an education, to provide an education and want their children to ultimately settle in Europe, then a golden visa program from any of the European countries, Portugal, Greece, Spain, could help them. If you're looking
Mhm.
for backup plan, you just want a backup plan. You don't want to actually move out of India and stay there. Then
Mhm.
again, the golden visa program, particularly Greece, which is the cheapest right now at 250,000, although that
Mhm.
is going to change soon. But at 250,000 euros, Greece, golden visa through property investment is the cheapest option. That could be
Mhm.
ideal for somebody who just wants a backup plan, and more importantly, travel flexibility because you get access to Schengen visa.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a big, big plus for the Golden Visa program. But with the times changing, there have been a lot of again a lot of speculation and a lot of changes in the program also for different countries. Like Greece have reduced some of the new regulations, and we are also hoping the same for the other countries also in the coming times. So, what
Right.
are your recommendations from that per se? The reason being, so people are afraid. They feel that if we start the investment process now, and if the things change in the middle of it, then we are landing nowhere. And who will give the security of the amount invested? So, is there any particular criteria which can be met, or any kind of safeguarding of the investments of individuals?
Yeah. So generally, as far as the safeguarding is concerned, we know that the Greece Golden Visa, they are increasing the investment amount, but they've made a provision over there that if you enter into a contract and make an initial deposit in the property, then they're giving you some more time to conclude your transaction. Right. So that flexibility is there. So one need not worry about these programs. While these programs keep on changing, they're quite dynamic. But once you are locked into the program, you are protected. There will not be any change which will retrospectively affect your investment.
Mhm.
Right. And
True.
so one should not be concerned about that. My only suggestion would be is that, what typically happens is people take a lot of time to decide. And even after they've taken, they take even more time to act on that decision. That fear of unknown is always there, the last minute, that push that is required to take the final action. You tend to talk to the family members, friends, etc., even after you have taken a decision. And many times, they may not be in the right position to advise you because they may not be aware about the programs. They may not be as aware about your circumstances and needs. So my suggestion would be that, spend initially time in understanding what is your objective. Talk to people, do research on the web. A lot of information is available on the internet. Talk to consultants, talk to lawyers, etc., and arrive at a decision. Right?
True.
Once you have arrived at a decision, then it is imperative that you act on it fast,
Absolutely.
because programs keep on changing. The investment amount increases, the timeline, all those programs, have a timeline, the processing time, right?
True.
And some of the programs may take, you may get, like we have seen recently for Dubai Golden Visa, we got the entire process completed in just 5 weeks, right from application till receipt of the Golden Visa card, 5 weeks. Whereas certain programs like EB5, getting a green card would take maybe 3 years or 4 years. So whenever there is an opportunity available, right now there are some opportunities available in EB5. We have a new category of visas under the rural program where you can get your processing done in 6 months to 1 year. This is the fastest that we have ever seen for EB5. So those
Absolutely.
windows are available. So whenever there is a window of opportunity available, please capitalize on it. Don't delay your decision, because ultimately, if you delay it, your processing time will increase, the entry barriers to the program will increase, and more importantly, we have seen that the investment threshold have been continuously increasing.
True, true, true. That's quite interesting, Mr. Karya, and it'll be interesting to know that you have met hundred of people in suggesting and giving consultation for immigrating lawfully, as your motto is also immigrate lawfully and live happily. So the
Right.
idea here is to understand more about the success stories about your clients. That's one. Secondly,
Yeah.
you must have met plenty of people with a lot of questions, and I think our subscriber would also have similar questions which they would like to get answered. So
Right.
something which was, I would say, a misconception from the RCI standpoint, and something that you have suggested. I think those stories will be interesting for our subscribers as of now.
Absolutely. So first, let's talk about our cases. The case
Yes.
success stories, etc. So, like I said, we started this journey in 2018. We started filing our first cases for EB5 in 2019, and we started the Portugal in 2020-21. We started filing over there, and I was very concerned. I was very worried because we were not getting the approvals. The EB5 visa program was taking its own time. That was then we had COVID. We were hit by COVID during 2 years. Everything came to a standstill from 22, almost 22. And then, there was a rush which was piling up. And I was getting concerned because approvals were not coming in. Till 22, we did not have any approvals. But in 23, we started getting all the approvals one by one. All our clients who are on the EB5 visa, we could hear from them that, look, we have got approval. Many of them already in the US, enjoying their dream life. And they were thanking us for helping them in moving to US. We had our clients from Portugal who had filed in 21, getting approvals again in 22, end of 22 to beginning of 23. The Canada Startup Visa Program, which we had recommended to so many of our clients, we were so happy that the plan that we had put into place became a reality. People started getting the golden visa applications, and their children were studying in Canada. Then they were enjoying all the benefits, especially the concession in the fees. They could save more in fees than what was the total cost involved in pursuing the program.
Interesting.
And the recently, like I said, the biggest surprise was the Dubai Golden Visa program, where within 5 weeks we got the results. So I would say that 2023 is a year where we have seen all the clients getting the results. Just last week, I got a call from a client in the US, from the lawyer and our partners, that his golden visa his EB5 visa application has also been approved. And I spoke with the family and they were so happy
Mm-hmm.
migrating, moving to another country. And when you see that dream getting realized, it's a big thing for everybody. And it gives us a lot of pleasure. Now, coming to your second question, about the myths and what are the most commonly asked questions. I think one of the biggest myths which people have, particularly in India, and this was something which we were hearing more and more, in the early part, maybe 2 years back.
Mm-hmm.
People used to, use residency and citizenship as synonymously. They
Mm-hmm.
would consider PR and citizenship as the same thing, whereas
Very
these two
true.
are completely distinct thing. People would say that US ka passport chahiye hame. Now,
Mm-hmm.
getting a US passport through the immigration program is impossible.
Impossible. Absolutely.
You get a permanent residency first. You get in countries like US, you get permanent residency. What is permanent residency? Permanent residency will give you a right to stay in the particular in the country and enjoy all the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
However, you don't get a passport to that country and you don't get the right to vote. Other than that, most of the benefits are available under permanent residency and citizenship. But
True.
people were not able to understand that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why we said that there was a need to educate the people. So I went ahead, I made an educational video on this, explaining what are the differences between residency and citizenship. The and now we are realizing that, as awareness is going, people are aware. I don't come across too many people who are coming and telling me that, look, I want a US passport or
Mm-hmm.
anything. They come and tell me that we are looking at migrating, we want PR, we want green card. Yes. So you get a green card and not that.
Mm-hmm.
The second misconception, which was that people were not even aware that if they take up a passport of a foreign country, India does not allow dual citizenship. So it was
Exactly.
not possible. So,
Mm-hmm.
we had a lot of this people coming and promoting foreign passports without
Mm-hmm.
realizing that India did not have this rule of dual citizenship. So we used to take a lot of time and effort in explaining to the clients that what is dual citizenship and why it does not allow. And it's not that you have to give up the citizenship. The law, the Indian law, the constitution says that if you take up a foreign citizenship, then
Mm-hmm.
by default you lose Indian citizenship. And we did come across so many cases where people unknowingly had taken up foreign citizenship and had, by default lost the Indian citizenship, and they were not even aware about that. So again, we made a video on that, that dual citizenship is not available. I even did a TV program with NDTV where we discussed the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So two have been some of the biggest myths, with regard to citizenship and residency. And I'm glad that over a period of time, people are now getting more educated and understanding it, and we are getting less of these questions now.
Interesting, interesting. That's pretty evident actually. Even since 2015, when we started off with the different programs, residency, citizenship, investments in India, asking people to migrate abroad also. That was one of the very common questions that they have. They had no clues about the difference between the residency and citizenship. I think you were pretty much bang on the fact that that differentiation needs to come first before actually making any decisions. So now
Exactly.
we always talk about the due diligence perspective for an individual to make any decision. Now, can you just help them to understand what are the step-by-step options or step-by-step procedures for doing the due diligence for any of the programs they plan to invest in?
Right. Right. So this is a very important question. So when we are talking about residency and citizenship by investment, like we said, this most of these programs are very easy. All you need to do is have money.
True.
But the difficult part is having money, and where do you invest it? What is the right place to invest? And this is a concern which most of the people have. They don't have concern with the money. They have the money, but they are concerned, where are they going to invest? Is their money safe? You are investing with an unknown person in a new country.
No,
How do
certainly, of
you manage
course.
the investments? So this is the biggest apprehension which people have. And yes, and that's where we come in. We have to play a role over there. Like I said, I have been used to it. I've been doing due diligence on investment in my days as a private banker, and we
Mhm.
have been adopting some of the same principles that we used to do while evaluating investments. So again, doing due diligence for an EB5 investment is quite different than doing a due diligence on a property or a fund for a Portugal Golden Visa, or maybe a simple investment in Greece Golden Visa. So while the options can change, you have options like there are some countries which offer you Golden Visa by simply investing in a fixed deposit. So
Mhm.
there again, it's not easy. Which banks you can invest? How safe is the investment? Can you put it in one place or can you spread it across different banks?
True.
This is again a question. And when it comes to EB5 investment, that is the most complex kind of investment. You are investing in a private equity fund kind
True,
of a
true.
structure where there is a debt over there, there is equity, there is a loan, there is collateral, there is a regional center involved. The regional center gives the money to the developer. There is a developer which is involved. There is job creation requirements to be met. So, in fact, a lot of people on EB5 have been asking us those questions. And just recently, we have made a video on this, on how to select the project, which was released about 15 days back and available on our YouTube channel. And the next video, which we are releasing in the next couple of days, is only on financial due diligence, particularly for EB5. So, of course, when it comes to property, again, you have to look at various aspects. You have to understand the property market in that particular geography and dive deep into it and look at various aspects. So generally, we also don't claim to be experts on the global market. Well, we work very closely with our partners overseas. We work with the lawyers. So the key lies over there in selecting the right kind of partners and lawyers. And based on our experience and dealing with the global markets over the past few years, we are fortunate to say that we have shortlisted the right kind of lawyers, right kind of partners overseas to work with. And we are, generally very happy going with them.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Karia. It was, I think, a more holistic discussion that we have today. We have covered almost all the major points when it comes for residency and citizenship through investments. We have spoken about the due diligence perspective, which is very important. We have spoken about the different options available, the the different mindsets of people of investing in international arena, and how these have really transformed over the years. So it's quite an interesting, and I think our viewers must have taken back a lot of learnings from this particular session. But before we end, we would like to also ask a special advice from you for all the people who are looking for any kind of international investments. What cautious they should follow? What disclaimer you would like to give to them?
Yeah, the disclaimer I would like to give them is that, then you need to keep in mind that when you are pursuing this program, you need to comply with the laws, not only of the country where you're migrating or you're looking at doing the program, but also of the home country. There are certain things that you have to follow in our home country. Like, for instance, I mentioned earlier that if you're taking up a foreign passport, you automatically use Indian citizenship. So you have to keep that in mind. There are certain restrictions on remittance of funds. There are certain disclosures that you have to do in your income tax returns when you are sending out the money or investing overseas, right? So be wary. There are certain restrictions on borrowing overseas. Like Indians, we can't borrow easily overseas. So all these things have to be kept in mind. That's the reason why, our motto says, if you see over here, you have to invest wisely and immigrate lawfully so that you can live happily. So one is, of course, first thing is you invest wisely. Don't get carried away. Fortunately, we are seeing that Indian investors ask a lot of questions compared to many other, compared to Chinese investors or investors from Vietnam and other countries, because we know English, we understand English, and we are able to communicate and ask the right questions. So do that, do your due diligence, spend a lot of time in due diligence and selecting the right kind of investment. Ensure that you tick mark all the boxes, in your home country as well as foreign country. And above all, keep in mind what is your objective. We don't want a situation where you spend so much time and money in, moving to, let's say, Europe, and then you realize that was of no use. You should have gone to US. It is very difficult to undo that decision. So be clear about your objective and make sure that you pursue a program which meets your objective.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. Karia. It was a wonderful discussion. And before we end, we would like to request all our subscribers and viewers to kindly like and subscribe the channel. And also do not forget to press the bell icon for more such interesting videos. Last but not the least, please practice your due diligence before making any kind of investment decisions. And it is important because that's your hard-earned money. Thank you so much, Mr. Karia. We look forward to connect in future as well.
It was a pleasure having.
Pleasure is all mine, sir. Thank you. Thank you.